Before you turn 70, there is one mistake that silently steals your peace every single day, and most people don't even realize it's happening. It's not aging, it's not health, it's the things you're still holding on to that no longer belong to your life. Stay with me because what you're about to hear could change how your future feels, starting today. Welcome to Obsidian Wisdom, a place for calm, honest wisdom stories about life, aging, and inner peace. Here, we share quiet truths that help you let go of what no longer serves you. If these stories speak to your heart, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Join Obsidian Wisdom, where clarity matters more than noise. Before you turn 70, there is a quiet truth that almost no one talks about, because it doesn't sound dramatic and it doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives slowly, like dust settling in a room you visit every day. You don't notice it at first, because you are used to it being there. And that truth is this: life doesn't become heavy because you are getting older, it becomes heavy because you are still carrying too much that no longer belongs to the life you are living now. When we are younger, we collect things without thinking. We save objects, clothes, papers, furniture, and memories because we believe we will need them someday. We believe energy will always be there to manage them later. But later comes quietly, and one day you wake up and realize even small tasks feel tiring, even simple decisions feel exhausting, and your home no longer feels like a place of rest. It feels like a place that asks something from you every time you walk into a room. What most people don't understand is that clutter is not just about mess. It is about pressure. Every item you keep is something your mind must acknowledge, step around, clean around, remember, or justify keeping. And when you are over 60, that constant low-level pressure slowly steals your peace. Many people think feeling tired all the time is just part of aging, but often it is not age, it is overload. It is the weight of decades sitting quietly on shelves, in drawers, in closets, and corners of the home. Broken things you plan to fix someday. Clothes you haven't worn in years. Papers you don't understand anymore. Gifts you never liked but felt guilty throwing away. Each one carries a small emotional charge. Together, they create a feeling you can't quite explain, a feeling of heaviness, irritation, and restlessness, even when nothing is technically wrong. You may notice that you avoid certain rooms, certain drawers, or certain cupboards. You may tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But later becomes months, then years. And slowly, your own home stops feeling fully yours. It becomes a storage place for the past instead of a support system for the present. Before 70, this matters more than people realize, because your energy becomes valuable. You no longer have energy to waste on managing things that don't serve you anymore. There is also something emotional hidden inside clutter that people rarely admit. Holding on to things often feels like holding on to safety. We tell ourselves that throwing something away is wasteful, or irresponsible, or disrespectful to the past. But sometimes, what we are really afraid of is change. Letting go forces us to accept that life has moved on, that we have changed, that certain chapters are over. And that can feel uncomfortable, even painful. A closet full of old clothes can quietly remind you of a body you once had. A shelf full of unused items can remind you of plans you never followed through on. A box of old papers can remind you of responsibilities that no longer matter. Facing these things every day creates a silent emotional drain. You may not cry over it, but your nervous system feels it. Decluttering is not about erasing your life. It is about choosing not to live inside old versions of yourself anymore. As people approach 70, safety and ease become more important than appearance or habit. Narrow walkways, crowded rooms, low furniture, and cluttered surfaces increase the risk of accidents, confusion, and frustration. But beyond physical safety, there is mental safety too. A clear space sends a message to your mind that things are under control, that you are not behind, that you are not failing to keep up. Many older people carry unnecessary shame about their homes, feeling embarrassed if someone visits, feeling overwhelmed at the idea of cleaning. That shame is not because they are lazy. It is because the environment has become too demanding. When you reduce what you own, you reduce what is expected from you. Your home starts working with you instead of against you. Another truth people avoid is that many items are kept out of guilt rather than love. Gifts kept because someone might ask about them. Furniture kept because it was expensive years ago. Objects saved because it would be a shame to throw it away. But shame has no place in your living space, especially as you age. Your home should not be a museum of obligation. It should be a place where your body can relax and your mind can rest. You are allowed to prioritize comfort over memories, ease over appearances, and peace over potential usefulness. The value of an object is not measured by how long you keep it, but by how well it serves your life now. Before 70, decluttering becomes an act of kindness toward your future self. The future version of you will move a little slower, rest a little more, and need a little more simplicity. By letting go now, you are protecting that future self from unnecessary struggle. You are saying, I don't need to prove anything anymore. I deserve ease. And something surprising happens when you start removing what no longer belongs. The house feels quieter, not just physically, but emotionally. You breathe deeper. Your shoulders relax. Decisions become simpler. You stop feeling like you are constantly behind. This is not because your life became perfect, but because your environment stopped asking for more than you can comfortably give. As you move deeper into your 60s, something subtle begins to change, even if you don't talk about it out loud. Your tolerance for discomfort gets lower, not because you are weaker, but because you finally understand what truly matters. You no longer want to spend your days managing inconvenience, searching for lost things, stepping around obstacles, or feeling annoyed by objects that add nothing to your life. Yet many people still live surrounded by items that quietly demand attention. They may not scream for it, but they whisper constantly, asking to be cleaned, fixed, organized, stored, or remembered. That constant whisper creates fatigue you cannot fully explain. It follows you from room to room. And when you sit down to rest, your eyes keep landing on something unfinished, something unnecessary, something that reminds you of a task you don't have the energy for today. There is also the matter of decision fatigue, which becomes heavier as we age. Every object you own represents a decision you once made and a decision you continue to make every day you keep it. Should I keep this? Should I move this? Should I clean this? Should I fix this? When your home is full, your mind is never truly off duty. Even during quiet moments, it is scanning, evaluating, and carrying mental weight. That is why many older adults feel tired even after doing nothing. Their bodies may be resting, but their minds are still working. A simplified space allows the brain to rest in a way that sleep alone cannot provide. It removes hundreds of tiny, invisible decisions that quietly drain your energy. Another thing that happens as you get closer to 70 is that time begins to feel different. You become more aware that your days are precious. You don't want to spend them sorting, storing, or worrying about things that no longer improve your life. Yet clutter keeps you tied to the idea that someday you will deal with it, someday you will need it, someday it might be useful. But that someday keeps moving further away, and deep down you know it. Holding on to things for a future that never arrives is one of the most common ways people rob themselves of peace in the present. Letting go is not giving up. It is accepting reality with clarity and self-respect. There is also a hidden emotional burden in keeping things that belong to old identities. Objects from careers you no longer have, clothes from lifestyles you no longer live, tools for hobbies you no longer enjoy. These items are not neutral. They quietly remind you of expectations you no longer want to meet or versions of yourself you no longer need to be. Every time you see them, there is a small disconnect between who you are now and what surrounds you. Over time, that disconnect creates discomfort, even sadness, that people often mistake for nostalgia or depression. In reality, it is misalignment. Your environment is no longer matching your inner life. When you remove items tied to outdated roles, you make space to fully inhabit the present version of yourself, without apology. Many people fear that decluttering means becoming cold or careless, especially when items are connected to family or memories. But memories do not live in objects. They live in you. You do not lose love by letting go of a thing. You do not erase your past by clearing a shelf. What you are really doing is choosing which memories deserve space in your daily life and which ones can rest quietly without being on display. It is possible to honor your past without living surrounded by it. In fact, honoring it sometimes means allowing it to stay in the past instead of dragging it into every new day. As the body changes with age, the environment needs to become more supportive, not more demanding. Bending, lifting, reaching, and navigating tight spaces become harder, even if you are still active and healthy. A crowded home turns simple movements into obstacles. But more importantly, it turns your home into a place where you must be careful instead of comfortable. You start moving cautiously, thinking about what you might bump into or trip over. That constant vigilance creates tension in the body and mind. A simpler space allows you to move freely, confidently, without fear. It gives you back a sense of control and ease that many people don't realize they have lost. There is also the emotional relief that comes from knowing your home is manageable. That if something unexpected happens, you won't leave behind chaos for someone else to deal with. Many people quietly worry about this but don't say it out loud. They think about their children or loved ones someday having to sort through piles of belongings, not knowing what matters and what doesn't. Decluttering now is a gift. It is an act of consideration and care. It says, I have taken responsibility for my life and my space. That knowledge alone can bring a surprising sense of peace. When you start letting go, something shifts inside. At first, it can feel uncomfortable, even emotional. But then slowly, relief appears. You begin to notice how much easier it is to clean, how much lighter the rooms feel, how your mood lifts without any obvious reason. You may find yourself sitting quietly and actually enjoying the stillness of your space. No nagging thoughts. No visual noise. Just calm. That calm is not emptiness. It is clarity. It is the absence of unnecessary weight. And once you experience it, you realize how much you have been carrying without realizing it. Decluttering before 70 is not about perfection. It is about permission. Permission to live with less. Permission to choose comfort over clutter. Permission to stop managing things that no longer give anything back. It is about recognizing that your time, energy, and attention are valuable. They deserve to be spent on people, experiences, rest, and simple joys, not on maintaining objects that no longer serve a purpose. When your home becomes simpler, your life feels more spacious, even if nothing else changes. And in that space, there is room to breathe, to rest, and to fully enjoy the present moment, which is something far more precious than anything you could ever store in a drawer. As you reach the later chapters of your life, something important becomes clear if you allow yourself to be honest. You no longer need to live surrounded by just in case. Just in case someone visits. Just in case you need it someday. Just in case throwing it away feels wrong. Living like that keeps you mentally leaning forward into a future that may never require those things, while quietly stealing comfort from the present. The truth is, peace does not come from being prepared for every possible scenario. It comes from creating a life that feels manageable, calm, and supportive right now. And the environment you live in plays a far bigger role in that than most people realize. When your home is full of unused, unnecessary items, it sends a message to your nervous system that things are unfinished, unresolved, and out of control. When your home is simplified, it sends the opposite message. It says, "You are safe. You are not behind. You have enough." Many people are surprised to discover that once they let go of excess, they don't miss it. The fear of regret is often far worse than the reality. That old item you thought you might need someday rarely crosses your mind again. And if it does, it's usually followed by relief rather than loss. Relief that you no longer have to store it, clean it, or think about it. We tend to overestimate the importance of objects and underestimate the importance of ease. As you get older, ease becomes everything. Ease in movement, ease in decision-making, ease in daily routines. A home that supports ease allows you to conserve energy for what truly matters, like connection, creativity, rest, and simple enjoyment. There is also a quiet confidence that comes with choosing less. It is the confidence of knowing you don't need to hold on to everything to feel secure. That your worth is not tied to what you own or what you keep. This confidence often shows up in small ways. You feel less rushed. You feel more present. You stop apologizing for your space. You invite people over without anxiety. You stop feeling like your home is something you need to explain. That shift is powerful, especially later in life, when many people feel they are losing control in other areas. Simplifying your environment is one area where you get to be fully in charge. Another thing people notice after decluttering is how their habits change naturally. When there is less around you, you move more intentionally. You put things away more easily. You clean without feeling overwhelmed. You know where everything is. That sense of order creates mental clarity that spills into other parts of life. You may find yourself sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling less irritable. These changes are often subtle, but they add up. They improve your quality of life in ways no new purchase ever could. As you move closer to 70 and beyond, your relationship with time becomes more tender. You become more aware that every day deserves to feel decent, not chaotic or burdensome. Living among too many things makes every day slightly harder than it needs to be. It turns simple tasks into chores and quiet moments into reminders of what you still should do. Letting go removes that pressure. It allows you to be where you are without constantly feeling pulled by unfinished business. It gives you permission to rest without guilt, to enjoy without justification. There is also a deep sense of dignity in choosing to live simply. It says that you respect yourself enough to create an environment that supports your well-being, that you are not clinging to the past out of fear or obligation, that you are willing to adapt, to evolve, and to make choices based on who you are now. This is not a loss of independence. It is a strengthening of it. You are deciding what deserves space in your life and what does not. That is one of the most powerful decisions anyone can make, at any age. Letting go also opens the door to gratitude. When there is less clutter, what remains becomes more visible and more meaningful. You appreciate the things you use every day. You notice the comfort of your favorite chair, the warmth of your bed, the light coming through the window. You stop being distracted by excess and start noticing what truly adds value to your life. That awareness creates contentment, which is something many people chase but few cultivate intentionally. In the end, decluttering before 70 is not about rules or numbers. It is about honesty. Honesty about what you actually use, what you actually enjoy, and what actually supports your life. It is about recognizing that keeping things out of fear does not protect you. It weighs you down. Choosing less is not a rejection of your past. It is an acceptance of your present and a kindness toward your future. Your future self does not need more things. Your future self needs more ease, more clarity, and more peace. When you look around a space that finally feels calm, you realize something important. You are not getting rid of your life. You are refining it. You are removing what distracts, burdens, and exhausts you, so that what remains can breathe. And in that breathing space, life feels lighter. Not because it has fewer challenges, but because you are no longer carrying what you don't need. That lightness is a gift you give yourself, one thoughtful decision at a time. And once you experience it, you understand why your future self will quietly thank you for choosing peace over clutter and presence over possessions.